All right. So, the Phoenix Suns last night, they fall to the Minnesota Timberwolves. The one thing that's really nice about having me on this show and doing this show every morning is I'm a credentialed media member. I'm clearly doing Locked On Phoenix Suns every night. And so I'm at all these games. I'm telling you, what I'm seeing, sights and sounds. Seeing Anthony Edwards up close last night. Alex Rodriguez is there. I'm still waiting for the day that Emma Stone is there. So you get a very good understanding of what's going on in the game. I'm always there. I'm not watching it from my couch unless it's an away game. So let's talk about this. This is kind of an extension of what I was talking about on Tuesday on the show, which was very plainly this. The Phoenix Suns do not have an alpha. And to an extent, I'm not sure they have a real leader. And when I say that, it feels not fair because you see Kevin Durant here in the lower right-hand corner or whatever, lower left-hand corner, whatever it would be if you're turning it around. And you think I'm just pointing at Kevin Durant. I don't expect KD to be a leader. He doesn't want to be. He's very vocal about not wanting to be. The guy just wants to hoop. I think this is more so a Devin Booker issue than anything. But this is the exact reason for me that it is just Jimmy Butler or bust for this Phoenix Suns team. And why, if it turns out that they really can't get him, and day by day that goes by, it starts to worry me just a little bit more than that is the case, that the Phoenix Suns just have no shot of getting that being one Jimmy Butler because of Bradley Beal's immovable contract. It's why it doesn't matter to me if this team wins 55 games to end the year or something absurd. They go on an absolute heater and the Phoenix Suns win 50-plus games. Top 4 seed in the West. They just get it humming. This is why I can't trust this team. I tweeted this last night, and you can follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. And it was just plainly this. Tell me if you've heard this before. This was the story of last night's game. The Phoenix Suns get punched in the mouth after having a massive lead, and instead of getting up, wiping the blood off their lips, and throwing a counterpunch of their own, they sit there in the fetal position, and they play dead. When things don't go their way, they have no backbone to sit themselves straight up. Which is why the Jimmy Butler thing is interesting if he came here to Phoenix. Because Bradley Beal and Jimmy Butler, I'm not so sure skill position-wise how much better Butler is at this point in his career than Bradley Beal. And I'm not so sure Butler's even going to work here because it's very clearly a catch-22 with that being one Jimmy Butler, given the fact that he wants a new contract and it won't go to Memphis or whatever. This team needs an ace in baseball. And I use this analogy a lot. This is what aces in baseball get paid for. You lose 4 straight games, you need someone to stop the bleeding. Your ace, use the Diamondbacks for example, that being one Corbin Burns, steps up to the mound, stops the bleeding, gets you a win. Everyone takes a step back in relief. This team does not have a guy when things are going wrong where they can give the ball to, get a bucket, get a stop, and stop the bleeding. They just don't have that guy. They simply don't have that guy. Which is why whenever I talk about wanting Jimmy Butler on this team, I don't really care about the skills. For me, it's the intangibles of basketball of why I want Jimmy Butler. Yes, do I know he's going to sour here after a couple of seasons? Of course. He's just like Chris Paul in that way. He wears out his welcome relatively quickly. But Jimmy Butler has to come here because he has the bleep you mentality that this Phoenix Suns team needs. I do believe that in the third quarter last night, when the Minnesota Timberwolves are going on their run and just stepping on the throats of the Phoenix Suns effortlessly, and the Phoenix Suns are just rolling over and playing dead, I do not think that would happen if Jimmy Butler was on this team. I don't think that would happen. And I think it is now more than ever that this team needs him, or that this team needs Jimmy Butler. We can't keep doing this. It is far too frustrating that in the first quarter and in the second quarter, this team can pile it on opposing teams. That first quarter, 29-22, it didn't even feel that close. They were suffocating the Minnesota Timberwolves. But the issue with the Suns is they play, for lack of a better term, pretty boy basketball. And we talked about this last night on Locked On Phoenix Suns with my guy Brendan Clean, and the blueprint is out on how to stop the Phoenix Suns. Even if you're a bad team, if you have two good defenders, you can make this team uberly uncomfortable. You could swarm Devin Booker, swarm Kevin Durant, force the ball out of their hands, make someone else beat you, and if the officiating will allow it on that night, you can get all up in their face and easily get in their head. I don't think that happens with a Jimmy Butler. I don't think that happens with a nightclub bouncer tough guy. But the issue is this team is all skinny jeans and pretty boy basketball. It's truly what it is. Last night, I was just actively shaking my head as I'm sitting with the rest of the media and just frustrated. I'm talking to my co-host, and I'm like, how often do you have to get your brains beaten in the third and fourth quarter before you actually stand up for yourself? I don't care if it's getting a technical foul and pushing another player, but someone's got to light a fire. Because last night when Chris Finch gets thrown out, and the Suns get another technical foul, free throw that they can shoot, and they're up in that game, and the Timberwolves are down, Anthony Edwards calms down his coach. I'm sure lets him know that they got his back. Devin Booker misses the free throw, and the rest is history. And that's just another thing really quickly. Yesterday, I put out a short about Marvin Harrison Jr., and it was met with some backlash. And I love that. I love being able to interact with people. I don't get frustrated when people have different opinions than I do. And I also find it very hilarious that I can make people so upset over a sports take. I mean, for me, it's just like, come on, man, get a life. Like, everything's going to be okay. It's just a sports take at the end of the day. But people tend to be like, come on, man, you're a fan. You got to support your team. No, I don't. No, I don't. That's stupid. I love these teams. And it's why recently I made the professional decision to just cover them on this channel. The Suns, the Diamondbacks, ASU, the Arizona Cardinals. But it's because I feel like the media is soft. It's because I feel like they don't hold this team accountable. I will be opinionated. I will be a broadcaster first. I'll be a fan second. I'm not here to massage egos. And so when I say these things and people are like, oh, you're taking a dump all over Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and you don't really, those are supposed to be your guys. No, they don't care about me. And honestly, I don't think they care about my opinion. I give out my honest opinion for you because I know you enjoy it. I've built my audience through authenticity. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't go after anyone personally. I keep it about sports, always. And the frustration that mounts when I say these kind of things about Suns players or coaching or whatever it is, it's just nonsense. Hold your team accountable. Hold them accountable. Because last night was embarrassing again. And I don't have any interest in massaging egos. And Jimmy Butler, I don't think allows that to happen last night. And back to my original take, which is you just have to support your team through and through. I mean, come on. Get out of Neverland, Peter Pan. It's okay. Like, grow up. For the love of God, grow up. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant don't care what I have to say. You do, which is why I give you my opinion. There is no planet right now where Anthony Edwards is better than Devin Booker. I'm sorry. There is no planet right now where Devin Booker is better than Anthony Edwards right now. And last night and the previous 5 games before that is very clear the difference between Devin Booker and Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards consistently shows up in the biggest moments, especially recently, and it takes a real talent to be able to just point to a player in a crucial part of the game and shut them down. Anthony Edwards does not turtle shell like Devin Booker has recently when games get tight. He doesn't let the officiating get in his head. I am not a Minnesota Timberwolves fan. I love Devin Booker, and if this changes, I'll change the content accordingly. I'll say Booker's better. But if you're just massaging Booker's ego to massage Booker's ego and make yourself feel better because you think you still have the best shooting guard in the NBA, you do not. Anthony Edwards is just better right now. Defensively, getting to the rim, leader-wise, and I don't want it to be true, but it is true. Anthony Edwards is just better right now. And I know that frustrates you, but there is no planet right now where Devin Booker is still better than Anthony Edwards. There is no planet just this season alone, if we're just comparing this season, where Donovan Mitchell hasn't outperformed Devin Booker. Team success matters. Stop showing me your stats. So, that is something last night that I think continues to be true. And up until this point last year, I was with you. Devin Booker's better than Anthony Edwards. He's a better shot creator. Defensively, he's fine, not great. But Anthony Edwards is amazing defensively, can shut down any player in the NBA virtually. And Devin Booker, this year is like a complete negative defensively. And the leadership hasn't been there, and he doesn't fold under pressure. And yes, both guys were turnover prone last night. But it felt like in the biggest moments, you're like, where's Devin Booker? And it felt like in the biggest moments for the Minnesota Timberwolves, you're like, oh, there's Anthony Edwards. Those 2 big dunks. Calming down his coach when he gets 2 technical fouls. So, call me a hater. Say I'm not a great fan. I truly don't care about any of that. And I hope it changes, and I'll change the content accordingly. But there is no world. And I vouched for Devin Booker last year. And he made me look stupid in the playoffs. Where, to this point, Anthony Edwards is just the clear-cut better player right now.